I got a short clip here about Tate, his lawyer, speaking about the case. We're going to play that and we're going to get right into it. Hit that like button and subscribe.
Prezența avocatului este necesară și va veni și momentul la care dosarul va deveni public și atunci va fi foarte interesant pentru toată lumea să observați că discuțiile aveau cu totul și cu totul o altă notă și că ceea ce s-a prezentat din partea nu știu cui deocamdată în presă este o chestiune absolut încheiată. Starea lor generală este ca starea generală a oricărui om care se află de peste 30 sau de aproximativ 30 de zile în arest. Cum să se simtă? Vor să se afle mai repede adevărul, au dat o declarație amănunțită, au colaborat. Credem noi că apărarea începe să prindă cont.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Before we begin today, smash that like button and subscribe. Follow me on Rumble, Mark's Inspiration. If you're watching this on Instagram, follow me or subscribe to me on YouTube at Mark Daniels Mark's Inspiration. And if you're watching this on YouTube, follow me on Mark's Inspiration on Instagram. I'm on Twitter also, Facebook, and where else? I think that's it, but maybe somewhere else. Okay, today's topic is going to be Tate. Everybody's still talking about Tate. What's going to happen? Well, I don't know much more than any of you guys do, other than the fact that I've watched him for a couple of years. I'm not a avid Tate fan, but I have kept up with some of his stuff. What I've noticed is a lot of people post things out of context, which some of you guys I'm sure are aware of also. None of my 1,664 subscribers would do that, but I know some other people out there will do things like that just to get views. I speak about him when I move to speak about him. Yes, he's in the algorithm, so if you put his hashtags on there or his name or his photo on the thumbnail, which I do when I speak about him, more people watch. But I'm just here to speak about my experience in relation to what he's going through. I know a lot of you guys think that if he's innocent, that he'll be proven innocent, and if he's guilty, he'll be proven guilty. Well, it doesn't really work that way in the world. I mean, we would like to think it does, but until you've been involved in the court system, you don't really understand how it works. In this situation, and I have a video I'm going to post before I start speaking here, not now, but I posted before this video, so you guys can kind of see what's going on. But even that is clips from his lawyers saying things, and there are things that are left out, or they cut out, or edited out for whatever reason. It may or may not be to make him look innocent or guilty. It's his lawyer speaking, so you can take that for what it's worth. And that's what a lot of people have done. They posted things, and actually the lawyer speaks about that in that little clip that I show you guys, posted things out of context. And the one thing that I really noticed was the conversation supposedly where he said he was, how would I say, graping that girl and that he enjoyed it, but there's nobody on the other end. Now, if that's him in the conversation, there's no way you can judge him by that because you don't know what she's saying. I mean, they could just be having, what's it called? Sexting talk, or I guess sexting is when you text, but dirty talk or whatever. A lot of girls like that. That turns them on. And there's a lot of other things that turn girls on too, like being grabbed by the neck. I didn't know that. Like, this is something new to me that I just learned in the last couple years. Back in my day, they didn't do that. Or if they did, you never heard about it. But that's a very common thing. But it's funny how when a man is doing it, it's called choking. But then if later on they decide they don't like the guy or they feel like he jilted them, then it's strangling. So, and I'm not saying he did or he didn't do one or the other. I'm just telling you how things change when a woman's feelings change about the guy she's with. When she's obsessed with him, and I've had women obsessed with me before, anything goes. Damn near anything goes. But once they break up and she starts looking back in retrospect, she starts to regret or be angry at him, and she starts viewing things differently. Now, you may think that, how can people do that? But take a look at your own life. Look back at your life, and there may be some things that you look at today that you're glad happened, But maybe 5 years ago, you thought they were terrible. Because now you're looking at it through a different set of lenses, so to speak, a different perspective. And this is what happens a lot of times with these women. As I said, I'm not sure what happened. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't see into the past or the future. But this is just a scenario of what has happened. I've seen this happen and I've experienced it. Okay, so these girls will do whatever you want them to, willingly. Okay, whatever that may happen to be. But then when they break up with you, or you dump them, or they dump you, and they go on with their life, they'll look back and think, well, I really didn't want to do that. He forced me, or he, whatever happens to be. Or they're angry at you, or maybe you won't pay attention to them anymore, and all of a sudden, this is what happens. Not in all cases. There are men out there who abuse women. I'm not saying that there aren't. I'm just telling you that a lot of times they see things differently, and what was okay when they were doing it, looking back in retrospect, they start believing or thinking that, well, I really didn't want to do that. No, they may not have wanted to do it, but they wanted the man, so they did it. So they made a choice willingly to subject themselves to whatever. I watched a couple of women the other day, Mia Khalifa maybe, and I don't know if that was her. One of those porn star women. May not be her. I can't keep up with all these women that are in porn and are famous. Talking about there's two of those women, and some of you guys might know, they were looking back saying that the people involved in the porn industry were like, oh no, any man, older man who dated girls in their 20s was predatorial. But yet these girls were taking advantage of older men when they were in their 20s, although now they're in their 30s. And of course, at that time, they were enjoying the benefits of these so-called predatorial men. But I'm using them, and I'm not bad-mouthing those guys, that's just the way they see things, but I'm using them as an example. See how now when they look back on their lifestyle with these men, it's predatorial. But when they were doing it willingly, it was okay then, and they were enjoying it, and they wouldn't have said anything like that at all. And that's the analogy example I'm giving you of what happens many times in relationships. And it makes it difficult for men because some of these girls like it rough. So they would do things with women, and then later on when they broke up, the women would look back on it and say, well, I really didn't want to do that. But yet they did it willingly at the time. But in retrospect, they're thinking, well, I just did that because I wanted him. I really didn't want to do it. So the perception changes over a period of time depending on how they feel about the man. And as I said, I'm not saying that there aren't women out there who truly do get abused, because there are. But a lot of times it's not that. It's just the way they perceive things. And they actually did things at the time and they enjoyed it, or they did it to keep the man. But they made the choice. They could have left and they didn't do it. And it's just my belief that's probably what's going on here with Tate and that situation there. I mean, he's an attractive guy. Women want him. A lot of women want him. And of course, the ones that do go to see him want to have something with him. And when that doesn't work out, then they start looking at things in the past, like maybe they got jilted, or they felt like they got cheated, or they were lied to, or they were deceived. But I'm going to tell you this, as a man, and maybe you've experienced it too, I've been in relationships where I won't say I got taken advantage of, but I allowed myself to be, I don't know if I'd say used, but something like that, because I wanted to continue the relationship with the girl. So I bent a little bit. How would I say the word? I allowed things, I overlooked things that I wouldn't normally overlook. And of course, as you guys know, that never ends well. Now, and then we get angry when we break up with them, or they start disrespecting us, and we walk away from them, and we look back and we think, well, I probably shouldn't have done that. But the difference is, most men, or at least myself, I don't start trying to say they did something illegal to me. I may have been deceived. I know a few times I was cheated on, and I realized that. Didn't catch them red-handed, but I knew what was going on, so I walked away. I was being disrespected. I could look back and say, oh, well, I treated you like this, I was good to you, and then you cheated on me. And then what happens a lot of times is the woman continues to cheat and continues to get your provision. I've been married before and had this happen. And of course, because we had kids and you don't want to leave, Sure, they're taking advantage of you, but I stayed there because I had kids. But eventually I had to walk away anyway. But the point I'm making is, as a man, we make our choices and we live with them and we are responsible and accountable for them. But in the situation with many women, they want to lay off the blame on the man. Well, I really didn't want to do that. At the time, they're doing it willingly. Just like I willingly allowed, continued to provide for my wife, even though things weren't going well and even though she was cheating on me. I didn't know for sure that she was cheating on me. I suspected. Okay, but I chose to stay in there when I suspected she was cheating on me and she wasn't treating me well and she wasn't being a good mother and a wife. So I have to take responsibility for that. I can't come back. There's no legal ramifications for the man. I mean, there are many men out there that have been raped financially, emotionally, had their kids taken away, and what recourse do they have? They don't have any. But the emotional trauma, I don't like that word, okay, the emotional devastation from that is, I compare it to a woman getting raped, because many men end their life after that. And I'm not sure what the stats are on women ending their life after they've been through the traumatic experience of a grape, a real grape, where they actually were taken off into an alley somewhere and beat and forcefully abused. It's a terrible thing. I'm not talking about when they go to a party and they get drunk with some guy and the next day they wake up and they regret what they did and they feel ashamed of what they did. That's a different deal. I'm responsible, and anybody else is, if they go out here and drive a car drunk, have an accident, and end someone's life. Now, I don't see the difference. If a woman goes out here and drinks and a man goes out here and drinks and they're together, I'm starting to hear that she doesn't have the ability to consent. So she can come back later and say that she didn't agree or she didn't consent. She needs to be responsible, just like I or you am, in a car. If we get in a car drunk, doesn't matter if we were drunk, we are responsible if we have an accident and hurt somebody. Or if they pull you over, that's DWI. So why isn't there the same accountability? Or maybe there is, but I've heard that they're leaning towards the fact that if you're both drinking, then she can't give her consent. Now, you guys let me know in the comment section if you've heard about that or know about that. I haven't researched it, but that's just something I heard. But the whole point of this message is we all need to be accountable, and don't believe everything you hear. And many times men are accused in court after a breakup of things they didn't do. As I've told you guys, I've experienced it many times. It cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you know what happened to me. So fortunately, I was cleared. Took several years, and I was able to get through it. And I wouldn't change a thing now. It made me who I am today. But I see these things happening to other people, or possibly happening to Tate and other people. And I just think it's very detrimental to a man's ability to form a relationship with a woman when he knows that this is an underlying thing that can happen if she decides she doesn't like him anymore, if they break up. So I think this is one of the reasons we have such a high divorce rate in the U.S. And a lot of men opting out and not wanting to get married. I mean, there are other reasons, but this is one of the reasons. And men not wanting to approach women and wanting to date. So you women are making it hard on men. If you want a good man, you need to be a good woman. And vice versa. If you guys want a good woman, I gotta go. You gotta be a good man. So that's it for today. I hope this has been of value to you. Share it with a friend. If you'd like to get my help personally, marksinspiration.com is my website. I do consultations. And if you'd like to email me directly, and if you have a problem, you can email it to me and I will do a video about it and try to give you some solutions or possible avenues in the direction you can go. marksinspirationalguidance@gmail.com. Thanks for being here. Take care. Have a wonderful day.